Okay. No, is it fine? No, thanks, and once again, good morning, colleagues. Maybe let me start by saying that our statement is more of our CC, the outcome of the CC, rather than the government of national unity. Yes, we'll speak about it there. So Eyewitness News, the expectations on the government, and a whole lot of questions we've asked about the portfolios the DA is demanding, economic clusters, labor, and so on and so on. We have come to accept as a country and as a labor movement that constitutionally it is the prerogative of the president of the country to put up together an executive of a government. We also come to appreciate that these are not one of those previous elections where the ANC or one party will have overwhelmingly won and they alone they reserve the right to constitute a government. So I appreciate the engagements that must happen among the political parties that have participated in the campaign for the elections and ultimately won some votes or voted by South Africans. So our expectations really, with or without a DA in cabinet, is that we should not experience a reversal of the progress we have made over the past 30 years. In the economic trajectory, in the rights of the majority of the working class, in the what we call the progressive policies that seeks to alleviate the poverty of our people, be it the national minimum wage, the national health insurance, the basic conditions of employment, the Employment Equity Act, the affirmative action, all of those policies that the ANC-led government have always been at the forefront of implementing. So that's in a nutshell that we expect, irrespective of who is going to be put up together as a cabinet. The inclusion of the DA clearly doesn't seem to be something that can be avoided now, now that they are part of the government of national unity, despite our opposition to it, which we maintain. So their inclusion in a cabinet, for instance, on the economic cluster, it will depend which economic policies they are going to be implementing. For as long as the conduct or the mandate of any cabinet minister will be in line with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it will be in line with the need to change the living and the working conditions of the South Africans. I think we that will appreciate. We can't tell the president who to put in which position. We have our views, but obviously we can't tell the president which position to give to who. Because we don't know whether or not it will make difference whether the DA is in the economic class or any other portfolio, whether it will make any difference. The fact is the DA is there now in the government of national unity. SABC, we had hoped so, Katlego, that because the statement of intent and the things that is supposed to be contained in the body of it supposed to be taking into consideration the interests of all concerned, ourselves included. Sadly, it turned out that actually it's a statement of intent of political parties who contested the election. So no, we did not contribute in the drafting of the statement of the intent. We did not contribute a single sentence there. We were briefed about it, we had our views, we supported some, we had concern about some, but at the end of the day, it is a statement of intent of people who intend on getting into a marriage, and as you will know, we are not part of that marriage as COSATU. The consultations on the modalities or the options, I'm sure you know that train has long left. Actually, by the time we had an opportunity to engage with our allies, the announcement was already made. Yes, you will know that at the time you interviewed us, we had our various options, including that one of a minority government by the ANC. But by the time an opportunity presented itself for the engagement with our allies, the announcement by the executive committee of the ANC was already made. So all our options that we had could no longer be entertained. I think I'll stop that.
Yeah, I don't think very much, President, and thank you very much for Comrade to ask those questions. President has answered a number of questions, but let me come back on the issue of the ANC manifesto. Our hope is that the ANC manifesto will not be put into a dustbin, because as workers we contributed to the ANC manifestos. As President Mike has said, it is unfortunately that we're in the situation where we are today with the government of national unity, where it involves almost about, this morning they were saying it's about 10 parties in those who are there. But we would be very happy if the ANC manifesto not being thrown into a dustbin. But secondly is that, as Comrade Mike has said, we will not decide for the ANC, but we will be very happy if people who are appointed in portfolio committees, for an example, the trade and industry, Department of Labor, its public service, is people who will be able to advocate the interests of the workers and the interests of the public. So if we are going to be consulted, we'll be able to put what we think the President of the Republic of South Africa should do in those portfolios. So we can't say we expect this one to be here, but our call and our hope is that anybody who's going to be appointed must respect the rights of the workers. Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Just out of curiosity, you mentioned that if you're going to be approached by the ANC to offer in your own input, were you not approached, were you not consulted during this whole negotiation process? Do you not have a say as an alliance partner?
Well, as Comrade Mike, there's another question, maybe through you, Comrade.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Howard with UFM. I'm adding to that question to say, it would appear you were not consulted, so just clarify if this is what the alliance is, whether what you are seeing is a romanticized notion of an alliance, which in reality doesn't occur because the ANC decides and informs you whether you like it or not, it moves on. Just to clarify that as to, and then secondly, this Day of National Action, exactly towards whom will it be directed at? What would be the demands? Is this a one-off thing or a protracted strike with tangible demands? Thank you.
Well, I think Comrade Mike will come in. I want to start with this one. The strike will be a protected strike. That's why we talk about Section 77. It's an economic strike in terms of the LRA. And the action will be targeting business, because these are the people who are retrenching workers. These are people who are giving Section 189, employers, which include government. Because in the public service, we do have members. And we can't say public workers are not faced with the challenge of attack of the collective bargaining. Issues of retrenchment, issues of not respecting the rights of workers is an attack to the collective bargaining. So it will be directed to private sectors and public sectors.
Okay. No, okay. This alliance has always been romantic. It has been nice. So maybe let's just start by this background that unlike previous elections or in a otherwise a stable environment, things happen to be moving very fast. This time around post-elections, it's not the time that is a terrain that we are familiar with. So many political parties went to the elections. None of them received an overwhelming majority to form government alone. And clearly, a way forward needed to be found, and needed to be found mostly and first and foremost among the people who contested elections, which is the political parties. We have played our part, we have contributed, we have campaigned vigorously for the African National Congress. In fact, we have never campaigned this hard before than we did this time around. But ultimately, it is the political parties that needed to find one another, given what the voters have said to them. And secondly to that is that we have always maintained that we are an alliance of three independent alliance components: the African National Congress, SACP, and COSATU. Independent, in other words, that we are within our right or reserve our right to take decisions the best way we see it, even if to the disagreement of our alliance partners. And I think it should be noted that given the pressure the African National Congress is going through now, perhaps that became the safest way for them to go into their own internal National Executive Committee, independently take decisions as they see it fit, because they also have other political parties to contend with. Having said that, there was an Alliance Secretariat meeting prior to the sitting of the National Executive Committee meeting, in which the direction which was to be taken about forming a government was engaged. We did indicate our view, preliminary, as the National Office Bearers at the time, that we would prefer a minority government. And a follow-up meeting was to take place. It didn't take place until the National Executive Committee met and pronounced the government of national unity. So yes, there was a little bit of engagement, of a briefing, but the NEC took a decision, and once that had happened, we're an alliance partner, we needed to respect that. We could not scream any more than that, except indicating our opposition to allow the Democratic Alliance to play the music, or to call the tune for that, as you will see now in the media. And at that time, we were in opposition, particularly on a grand coalition between the ANC and the Democratic Alliance. We knew that once we go to the government of national unity, there will be no way you're going to exclude the Democratic Alliance, because if it's the government of national unity, you need to include almost everybody who is prepared to participate. So we had just to continue to indicate that which we are against the ADA of, accepting that they will be in the government of national unity. Post that, when the statement of intent was now engaged with the political parties, there was an Alliance Political Council meeting, which we attended, which we were briefed. So we want to separate being briefed and being consulted, because those are two different things. So when you are consulted, understanding that even when you are consulted doesn't mean that your views must be taken into consideration, but at least you were asked for your view, you were consulted. But we were briefed about the statement of intent as it was now done, that is the direction the ANC have chosen to go. The SG of the ANC came here in this boardroom in the Central Executive Committee of COSATU, also further brief the highest decision-making board of COSATU, which is the CC, about the same thing and the direction the ANC is going. So we appreciate that briefing, and also accept and respect that the ANC in this instant have chosen to be clear about the independence of each one of ours. So, were they meeting? Yes. Were there consultation? No. Were there briefing? Yes. There was a briefing. I hope I've clarified the two comments. Okay. And I think on the strike, it is both private and public. The GSF responded. We will know now, moving towards the election, or long before the elections, particularly in the mining sector, particularly in the post office, telecommunication, and a number of sectors that have been disseminated jobs, and again, even in the public service. So we feel that these are some of the rights that are under threat, even more now in the government of national unity, which includes people who have never stood for the workers' rights. They have never stood for the creation of employment. In fact, some of them, they came here, they declared this house an enemy #1 of the country. They are now today part of the leaders from where they stand, the workers, those belong to COSATU, are the enemies of the growth in this country. So we are sure that we are in for a bumpy ride in front of us, and that is why we felt the CEC, it is important for us to focus also on consolidating our unity so that we can be able to resist the onslaught that is going to come towards the way of workers.
Sorry, so we don't have a date for the National Day of Action yet?
No, we don't, but it will be between August and September. Currently, we are doing what is called build-up, mobilizing workers, informing workers with all the challenges that we're facing. The strike, National Day of Action will be between August and September.